This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Guys, 2020 is almost over. Have you organized your life yet? Start by getting rid of that small suitcase you keep in your back pocket and upgrade to the Ridge Wallet. The Ridge Wallet is different. It's sleek, industrial, and fits into your front pocket. It will change your pocket game. Ridge Wallets hold up to 12 cards, plus all the cash that you need. Choose from over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It is the best wallet you can buy, and you don't have to just take my word for it, because there are over 30,000 five-star reviews. I was skeptical at first, but once you try it, you will never go back to your old wallet, and there's no pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, full refund. When you decide to keep it, there is a lifetime warranty. Click the link in the description to get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and return. Go to ridge.com/Chael. That's ridge.com/Chael and use the promo code Chael. Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. It's interesting to me, and I don't mean the X's and O's or do we have a competition here. That part is silly. I'm talking about, why is that acceptable? Why would that be acceptable in the world of boxing? It wouldn't be, by example, in the world of MMA. MMA would not accept the best we've ever had versus somebody famous. That wouldn't sell, that wouldn't draw, and even your hardcore fans they're just not gonna tune in. That's not interesting. But I'm wondering why. Is it because of the actual activity itself? Is it just, boxing's really easy to understand. You got this hand and you got this hand, and you have nothing else, and everything's above the waist. I mean, it's pretty simplistic rules. Is that what it is? And MMA is just more complex with the intricacies in certain words that would intimidate and run you away, like Kimura and Gogo Plata. By example, is that what the turnoff is? Because it's always been argued from day one that fighting, speaking about MMA, is something that people just understand. You could watch it with the volume off. You're just going to kind of understand. Okay, now they're wrestling around. They're trying to get position. They're trying to strike one another. I've always believed that. So I don't know that I would be quick to then believe, well, boxing's even easier to understand. Is it? Really? Got a 10-9 must system. The judges are going to see this, and Queensberry rule, then this part of your glove must touch this part of your body for it to be a significant strike. I don't know. Is it the simplicity? I feel like there's some kind of a deeper meaning here. I think it has to do with one thing that nobody's talking about, which is that boxing doesn't have fans. And that always seems to be something that turns boxing off. But whether it's Friday night fights or Tuesday night fights or every Sunday we're going to do a fight, whatever it is, boxing is never held. There was a boxing event in your local town and you think of yourself as a big boxing fan. Would you go to it? If it was at the YMCA and it was $10 and guys were bought, would you go to it? Is it that you truly understand boxing and just appreciate and like and enjoy it? Or is there something different here as terms of why MMA would not accept this? Is it because the MMA fan is a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more of a driven fan that does have a level of understanding? Is that what it is? Because I don't know that you could just stick two famous athletes or two famous human beings in any environment and have it work. I don't know that if Mayweather and Paul were going to go bowl, by example, or we're going to go play a game of one-on-one pig, by example, it has to be some level of environment. So we've proven and tested that it will work within the boxing environment. But I don't know that the people are going to watch or what they would call themselves boxing fans. They would be more of a loose term where you're a fan of something that is promoted and something of excitement that's happening here and something of a storyline. But why wouldn't that work in MMA? Why don't we see celebrity boxing all the time? Why don't we see celebrity MMA? That might be an easier way for me to ask you this question. And I'm seeing people get very turned off and disgusted by it. I'm not really sure why. Boxing has never had a competitive architecture to start with outside of the amateurs. The amateurs will go through the Golden Gloves, the national championships, and then even go internationally to a world and Olympic games where it's a blind draw. You're in a bracketed format. The best guy is going to come out of this thing. But professional boxing does not have that level of integrity and does not have that kind of a competitive architecture. And frankly, in MMA, we're not any different. I'm not attempting to draw a divide between MMA and boxing. I'm asking specifically, why would celebrity boxing work and has always worked, and celebrity MMA would never even be a concept that got off the ground? Why? Why? And you see the problem here, right? Which is, I'm winning you over to the idea that you don't just want to see a level of celebrity come into MMA. It's the why that we're missing. I am as well. Why do we not want to see that? But we acknowledge that we don't. That's where you could tie in somebody like Clarissa Shields, who is very famous and skilled in one sport, but she's not famous. She's not going to have a trouble walking down the street from getting mobbed by the paparazzi or even your average fan. But a fight promoter will want to bring her over and then feed her a bum. That wouldn't work if she was wildly famous. That idea doesn't work within MMA, but it would work within boxing. And if we're trying to unpack this and you're trying to sort out the answer, and please do, because it would get a little bit philosophical. I personally would be very curious if we could identify it. It might be one of those things that we simply will never know. We know it exists. We know the phenomenon is real. We know that what I'm saying is true. Celebrity boxing, yes. Celebrity MMA, no. It's the why. And before you get too upset with boxing or you don't like the direction that boxing is going and you're an MMA fan, that's why you love MMA. Before you do that, don't forget it's your fault to start with. It is your fault to start with. You're the one who started the whole damn ridiculousness. Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather was ridiculous. It made no level of sense. You have one guy who's a professional within a sport against a guy who's on rent. You have one guy who is said to be the greatest that a sport has ever had, who is a second generation, a third within his own family, but it's a whole nother generation, against a guy who had never been licensed. It was silly on its face. It was a cash grab. It was nothing more than that. Now, in hindsight, it turned out to be a damn good contest. Conor really stunned and shocked and surprised us all, but that would have been the moment where you grab these reins and run with it. That would have been the moment where you identify and call boxing out for what it is, which is a fake sport. There is no real sport in the world where a guy who's the greatest at it could take on a guy who had never done it, and 30 minutes later, it's over. That would never happen. I come to you from an amateur wrestling background to explain to you how fast that match would be over, no matter how good this other athlete that you were bringing in was. Or if he had a size advantage, a height advantage, a youth advantage, whatever you wanted to write down on paper to attempt to justify what you just saw, which was the greatest your sport has ever had, just got tested and tried for 30 minutes against a guy who in any other jurisdiction could have got a license. That's what it was. And before anybody with an MMA wants to get upset with Floyd, y'all started it. Floyd's been doing the sideshow act for many years now, but his first was with Conor. At least on its surface, right? But we have to be able to acknowledge what it was before it happened. It's like if Paul goes out there and goes with Floyd, we haven't now learned something new. We don't now change what got us here. What got us here was a cash grab for attention between Floyd, who wanted to make some money and didn't want to have to work very hard, and Paul, who wanted to make some money and could get his ass kicked, but always be able to say, well, yeah, but it was by Floyd. Paul didn't actually want to test himself. Paul didn't actually want to go down to the local PAL club and put on the gloves and come through the Golden Glove circuit because he had a love and a desire for a sport that he had a belief in and was willing to work hard for. Paul is 100% as guilty as Floyd. Floyd has a skill, easy money, sucker promoter, sucker audience. Paul, easy excuse for failure. I'm not hating on either one of them. I'm identifying what happened, and I'm reminding that you all started it.